me, O Partha, to be the eternal seed of all existences. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the splendor of the splendid. The word Sanatan is used to describe the seed of all existences, which is the Supreme Soul. Sanatan means eternal, unending, and never destructing. Therefore, the Supreme Soul is the eternal seed of all existences and the reason for all existences. Look out clear, God is becoming. Sri Krishna uses the word vidhi, know. In the 6th verse of this chapter, Sri Krishna had said, Itad yoni bhutani sarvan upadanaya, meaning, know that all beings have their birth in this. Now in this verse, Sri Krishna says, Sanatam bijam sarva bhutam vidhi. Know me to be the eternal seed of all existences. We must remember one thing. God is describing himself with the things he is remembering at random, and he is saying that he is the essence of all these things. What is the reason for this life coming into being? Let us take an example. If a child is born, then the reason for the child coming is the father. The reason for the father coming is the grandfather. The reason for the grandfather coming is the great-grandfather. This goes on for generations and generations. What is the reason right at the beginning for the first people coming? What is the reason why progenies will eternally come from, and the grandfather to the father to the child's son, did the child's grandson? What is this string that we are talking about? This is continuity. There is continuity of the body, the mind, the intellect, the thoughts, and this continuity always keeps coming. God says that he is this continuity because he is the eternal seed of all existences. God is the intelligence of the intelligent. We must understand the metaphysics of the intellect. People think that the intellect is something that gives us shock. In reality, the intellect is not something that gives us shock. The intellect is there for our own good and for our own welfare. The intellect is the power of discrimination. That which gives us shock is not the intellect. One can get shocked as a result of intellect. The intellect is not just there to give us fear. What is the intellect? If I were to explain in simple terms, then the intellect is not shock. The intellect is diva, or a lamp. It's a torch. If you light a torch in your eyes, then you will get a shock. But the job of the torch is not to give you shock. If someone uses a mirror to reflect the rays of the sun into someone's eyes, then he shocks that person. But if the rays of the sun were not there, then a mirror would be useless and would not be able to shock someone. A torch has its own light, whereas a mirror can only reflect light. The intellect is like a torch and not a mirror. The intellect looks out for our welfare and our good. The intellect does not look out for selfishness. A thinker has given a very nice example. There is a very intelligent saint in a town with true intelligence, like the one described by Sri Krishna in this verse. The saint came to the town, and a lot of youths had it in their minds that they wanted to make fun of the saint. 4 or 5 boys picked up a pigeon and put it inside a coat. They went to the saint and said they have a pigeon. They asked the saint to tell them whether the pigeon was dead or alive. The saint realized what they were trying to do. The boys had kept the neck of the alive pigeon and wanted to trick the saint to make him say the wrong answer. If the saint had said that the pigeon was alive, then the boys would squeeze the neck of the pigeon to kill it and show that the pigeon is dead. And if the saint had said the pigeon had died, then the boys would release the alive pigeon just the way it was. The boys had kept the neck of the pigeon in their hands and asked the saint to say whether the pigeon is dead or alive. The saint understood what they were trying to do and said, the question here is not whether his answer is right or wrong, but it is a question of the pigeon's life. And that is why I say that the pigeon is dead. Because if I say that the pigeon is dead, then you will release the pigeon and keep it alive. It does not matter if the answer is wrong, but the life of the pigeon should be saved. This is intelligence. This person would never get the craving to give the right answer, that the pigeon is alive. What is in the world, but instead he gave an answer in relation to the welfare of the pigeon. It is not a question for him whether he gives the right answer or the wrong answer. It is a question of whether good is done to the world and whether another life is saved. This is intelligence. In society today there is a lot of cunning, but less of intelligence. There is a lot of cleverness, but there is less of wisdom. There is a saying in Gujarati, Grada vai I gara vare. Elders are understanding and give us support. This is because what elders have is understanding. A youth may have cleverness and may be able to work things out quickly, but he often spoils the situation. Elders, on the other hand, have patience because they have experience of life. They improve the situation. Such a person is intelligent. What Guruji means to say is that an intelligent person is one whose egotism of being the deer breaks away. There is a good saying in English that you can educate a fool, but you cannot make him wise. Education is different. Intelligence is different. Education is different. Wisdom is different. This is because wisdom can only come from the development in the inside. The intelligence that Sri Krishna is talking about is about wisdom, understanding, interest in the welfare of all, where the egotism of being the doer goes away, and where the feelings of doing service comes. This is what God is all about. God is the splendor of the splendid. What kind of splendor? This is the inner light that shines brightly. A splendid person is one who has used his intellect to develop himself, and after developing himself, he has attained such things that there is lamp lit up inside him, and the light from this lamp is shining brightly on the outside. This is splendor, and God says that this is him. There is a Hindi poet whose quote Guruji likes a lot. जिनके बिथार दिए जलते हैं, वो ही घर से बाहर निकलते हैं. Those who have lights lit inside them, only they come out of their houses. For such people, something inside has lit up, and they have attained something within themselves. And when he has attained that, then he goes out to sell that. He has attained that with a feeling of non-expectation. That is why there is splendor. When there is expectation, then no splendor can come at all, and the splendor always evades such a person. This is because as soon as expectation comes, then one has to try to keep someone else happy. And when you try to make someone else happy, that means you have to become below them, and no splendor can come. The brightness of true splendor is knowing that you have made the Supreme Soul happy, and the Supreme Soul has and revealed his presence inside you. What is the use of trying to make other people happy? Of course there is happiness when other people are happy, but one should not change his principles and noble goals of his life to keep other people happy. One should not change his principles. One should not change his goals. There is a whole different fun to this. A person who performs karmas without desire is splendid. This is because his lack of desire has reached a state where not only does he not want anything from anyone in the world, but he also does not want anything from God. That is how splendid he is. It is said about our rishis in the scriptures that they are sitting underneath a wish-fulfilling tree, and yet they do not ask for anything. This is a true splendid person. If someone is sitting underneath a wish-fulfilling tree, then one only needs to ask, and he will get what he wants. Yet the rishi does not wish for anything. Where did this splendor come from? Because the rishi did not wish for anything, he felt that the completeness inside him. Until a human being thinks that he is incomplete, then wishes remain. Until these wishes remain, then the person has to keep someone else happy in order to have the wish fulfilled, and until that splendor does not come. The moment when one realizes that he is complete, the way he is, he does not need any support, refuge, or anything else from the outside, then at that moment his true completeness reveals himself. And this completeness is his soul. He experiences this when he has given rise to his inner power. After this he has no need to run outside for anything. This is splendour. And this splendour can reveal itself in every person. It is not as if it reveals itself in some people and not in us. It can reveal itself in every person. We have the divo, the divine lamp. We have the ghee, the melted butter. We have the matches and everything else. We only need to light the divine lamp. There is another road where if the divo, or the divine lamp, reaches another divo, divine lamp, that is already lit, then it begins to shine brightly straight away, because it has this power. Sri Krishna says that he is the splendour of the splendid. And that ends verse 10.